It's gonna journal trades, right? Anyway, we'll get going. So on EU, we have this 4-hour supply zone. No, we still have this 4-hour demand, which broke structure, so that is valid as well. Want something fancy? Trading is not supposed to be fancy. So what we're looking at right now is just we can see that price action is currently in a downtrend. We have been bear trending for quite a while now. Um, so what we're gonna see is most likely that price will continue to go lower. So we're gonna try to look for potential sells. Like the bias is gonna be for sales, but we wanna consider these zones for potential retracements that we could also catch along the way, right? You don't want to be short-minded. You want to make sure that you got everything in the picture. So we're gonna drop down to the 15. Wait for Asia open. So essentially, we also have this nice supply zone left behind here, right? Because we just take that high as well, which is nice to see. So let's see how that goes. Essentially, we would like to short from that supply zone right there. So we're inside that supply zone. However, I mean the time is kind of coming towards Asia, so we could look for a trade right here. So what we're looking at right now is we want price to give us a confirmation whether it's gonna go up or down, and based on that we will take an entry, right? But we're gonna wait for Asia a little bit. So now it's around Asia. Let me drop down to the 1 minute. So we're inside this zone, but I want a little bit more price action. Usually I don't trade Asias on Monday. I really don't ever trade Asia, but during Mondays especially I don't, because essentially what you have is that price will do, I mean it's not gonna do something random, but like Asia is like the new opening of the week, so I'd like to be waiting for Asia's price action and based on that move. So let's see what happens. So what we have is now we're inside this supply. We take out the highs, which is good to see, because now you've taken previous week's high, right? The Friday high. This is the Friday high. And what we've also done is that we have actually we've actually what is it called? This is probably gonna be the Asian high if it's gonna happen. So if you look on the 1 minute, what we see is, we had that sweep, we had that rejection. Probably we are now inside a 4-hour supply zone, which for us is a good indication that we could see potential reversal coming. So what I would be looking for now is probably get some confirmation and then look for some sells, right? So what I would like to see is potentially see this low get taken first of all, and then I could probably get into a trade. And if I don't get my confirmation, then that's fine. Then we don't get a trade. It's not that deep, right? We're not gonna FOMO. We're not gonna be any of that. Essentially, you have a break of structure here, so you could look for a potential sell here. But I'd like to see that low get broken first, which we do have at this point. So we could be looking for potential sales. Now we also have some liquidity built up here, which is nice. So I'm gonna take my zone a little bit bigger because we have formed some nice liquidity. And I'd like to short right here. You have the stops above here. Could look for confirmation on the lower time frame, but I don't think that's necessary at this point. We could aim for these lows right here, or you could actually also just aim here. It really depends on personal preference. This is the trade I would take. Now let's see if it hits. Along the way, we are forming some more liquidity. We have swept these highs, which is good to see, but we still have some remaining liquidity, as you guys can see. So this is actually quite a nice entry if we get it, because price is well, more or less gonna take that liquidity and then possibly take our entry. So we have taken this high, we have not taken that high, but we have reacted from this supply. So I don't think I'm gonna catch an entry here. Looking at it like that. If we break structure now to the downside, then I would cancel my limits because price then formed actually quite too much liquidity. At this point, yeah, at this point I would cancel my limits because I'm not interested to short anymore, and we could probably see price run towards the low we expected it to go. So at this point, what we're looking at is we could look for this demand zone right here for potential retracement towards that high right there, towards the Asian high. So we could play that retracement. So let's see how that goes. So we're just gonna wait. So yeah, so our trade would have been valid. Actually it went quite not too low. Yeah, so we actually did retest here, which was okay to see. So now we have swept that low right there. So we're just gonna be looking for confirmation to get our, an entry here. So there's a nice bounce right here. We want to see another break here above, and then we could look for an entry. So that's a nice break. Now we have left behind this demand zone right here. We'll look to get an entry right here and then play towards the Asian high. I would have probably taken that 15-second entry, but I'm not gonna show it on stream because most people don't have the 15-second chart. So in the 1 minute, what do we see? We see price sweeps the liquidity. Price goes high, makes a good run, retest your demand zone respects, break structure to the downside. We have a supply zone right here. We want to see that supply zone kind of get run through, and that will be bigger confirmation for us. So you have a small rejection, which is okay because we actually form more liquidity, in my opinion, to take on later on. Because if you look at it, if you look at the point, we should have went towards the supply mitigation instead of this one. I wouldn't short base of this supply anyway, so that's why I'm thinking that this trade would be valid, right? So yeah, let's see how that plays out. So price is coming towards our entry. We're not tagged in there, which is kind of sad. Did we get tagged in? No, we did not. Yeah, that's kind of it's kind of trash. But let's see if our bias was correct at least. So now we break structure again. We could look for a potential re-entry based off this demand zone right here. So I'm gonna take an entry right here. Just a simple continuation as we also invalidated that supply right there, which is nice to see. Now price runs a little bit too high, so I will not limit this anymore. I think that we could uh, easily run through this demand if you retrace now. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get an entry opportunity based off the liquidity we have here, as we have a little bit. You could take this demand a little bit bigger since we have liquidity included now. But of course, yeah. So the highs, are they taken? I don't think they're taken. Are they taken? So it looks like the highs are not taken actually, which is quite interesting. So we don't take the highs. We are actually very close, but we don't take it, which is kind of weird. But this shows me that we're probably gonna go towards there on the next run. So we could look for buys, to be honest. Let's see if we get a tap in our demand zone, which we do not. So no entry there. So we see now Asian high got swept. Would have been a nice 1 to 6 trade, but fortunately no entry right there. No fill actually. So now what we're looking at, we're still inside the 4 hour supply. We had a nice retracement. Now we could play the sweep as well. So essentially what we have is we came back, we mitigated this one, and then so this was our essential supply zone right here. We came back, we mitigated that, had a small run, we formed more liquidity. We took all the liquidity at the top, so now we could easily see price trades as we also took Asian high out. So now we're just gonna wait for simple confirmation, and once we get confirmation, which we just did. We're gonna look to sell from right here, and then stops to be this high, and then we're gonna target the low right here. Since we're still in low time frame bullish structure, I want to target this demand zone right here. If you look at the 5 minute, it's going to be a demand because we still have bullish order flow on the lower time frame. So we don't want to be targeting these lows because they could probably not get swept as well. So let's see how this runs out. You gotta be kidding me now. Okay, so I guess we didn't get an entry right there. We got, yeah, so price mitigates the supply. Okay, so we didn't get an entry once again. Miss it by like what? By like a pip. Yeah, around a pip. So that's fortunate. Now we are inside this demand, but looking at the time, it's 5 o'clock. I don't expect too much movement at this time, but we could see some movement. We could see a good confirmation model. If we get the confirmation, then we could take an entry. That is looking good. Okay, I see. Now, of course, it's getting a little bit late, but what I would want is these highs to get taken. And once these highs get taken, we would look for a buy zone right there. So now on the retest, we could look for some buys on here. And then it stops to be this low. And then for take profit, we would probably run towards this wick right here. Which is going to be enough. It's a 1 to 10. That's not bad for sure. Okay, although we're not getting an entry, so at this point I wouldn't really get an entry anyway because it's too late for me. Usually after 5 p.m., which is a New York lunch, I don't trade because the volume dies off. As you can see, there's no real purpose. So we're gonna wait for Asia now, and then we'll see what happens. We're gonna mark out that we still have this supply which has taken the Asian high, and we have some liquidity here as well, which is nice to see. So let's wait for Asia and see. Essentially, trade actually didn't go to TPM. Kind of looks like it will go break even, or maybe it'll hit TP in Asia. So now we're at Asia. Essentially, what I would want is a retest here and get the 1 minute confirmation, or we get price back into the supply zone. And once we do that, we could potentially look for some buys, right? Or sells, depending on where we are. So no real movement for me. I would not look for to short from these zones because they haven't really, like, of course they mitigated these zones, but I would like the liquidity to get taken with the a mitigated zone right here, because we want to consider liquidity at all times. Then we're approaching this demand zone right here. Still have these lows here to be aware of because they could get swept very easily. So we're gonna make sure that we are aware of these zones. Now we're approaching that demand zone. Okay, we've taken the highs right here. We've actually kind of taken that high as well. Okay, now we took that high. Looks like we broke the demand zone. This personnel does not look like a liquidity sweep. It looks like a pure break. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look for a sell opportunity around here, right? Which is my supply that caused my demand to fail, right? That's the whole point. Stops to be like this for pips, and we're gonna target some new lows. Potentially, let me see where we could look at. Potentially we could drop back into this demand zone right here. So we could target this low very easily, around 38 pips. I could see that happening. So let's see if it plays out. It's actually, what day is it? It's Tuesday. So yesterday we had no entry, 2 entries, but we didn't get filled. Now you gotta be kidding me. I'll be pissed. Okay, so we get the entry. Price comes back, actually gives the confirmation right here. So this would have been the confirmation entry, personally, and then have that stop right there. And then look at this as your TP once again, but that's less R as well. So that would have been tapped out. Okay. This you would still be in. Okay. So for the second entry, you would have been tapped out. For this one, you would be in. Of course, it depends on your broker. If you have a zero spread broker like TFF, then you would be in. Or if you count spreads into your your broker, then that would work as well. It depends on the broker, on the prop firm with the broker. But anyway, looks like it's gonna hit for a 129, and then you had the 1R loss, so that's 8R profit if it managed to hit anyway. Let's move it a little bit quicker. Okay, so there's your TP. That's a 129 done. So in total you have mine plus 8R at this point. It's only Tuesday, so that's a good start. So now we're looking that we approach this demand zone right here, which is our target. And why do we target this demand zone? Because if you look at the 4 hour, you know, this is the essential bounce from this demand zone, and then we had the 50-minute break of structure to the upside, and this is just the demand zone that is left behind. So this is the nice retracement. We played the retracement towards this demand, which is a good thing to do. Now we could look for potential buys from this demand zone towards you know, all the way towards the 834 eyes. But looking at the price action, we could actually probably run lower, or we could even run higher. It doesn't matter. We'll just go along with price action. So we're just gonna wait for simple confirmation, and once we get the confirmation, then we're gonna look for potential buys, right? So now we have broker structure. We have the confirmation, which I speak about a lot, the truck flip confirmation. So now I would look to enter right here, stops to be low, and I'm gonna be conservative. I'm not gonna target too high. I would just target these highs, to be honest. Nothing too crazy. We could of course go run way higher, but I don't see a point targeting that high when a 1 to 4 taking in is very good, right? We could target, of course, we could target towards right here, but yeah, I don't want to be too greedy. Like it's not a good point to be too greedy, and this liquidity is actually quite interesting because you have a lot of liquidity formed, so we could actually also retrace from here. So let's see if we get the entry. Okay, that's actually a perfect entry. Okay, is that during news? I don't know. I assume it's not 15:45. Was there news? Let's see. Forex factory. But that's kind of a clean entry. Which day was that? It was Tuesday, right? Tuesday, 15:45. Yeah, so there was no news at that time, right? Yeah, we're looking at the correct. So it would have been filled. So that's a nice trade. That took like 10 minutes, 50 minutes. So that's a W right there. 15-minute trade, 1 to 4, 1 to 5. Let's kind of 1 to 4.5. So we're up 13R on this week now. 2 wins, 1 losses, and that's 13R, and it's only Tuesday, so that's very good start of the week. You know, you can see that the wins are actually bigger than the losses, which they should be. So I can actually take like 13 losses in a row now and still be break even for the week, and that's gonna give you a more boost of confidence because you are in profits. Of course, you don't want to give back the profits, but this will give you more of a boost because you have the drawdown buffer, right? Yo, what's up, bro? I'm good, bro. How are you? Anyways, bro types, what the fuck? So we're gonna wait. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna see what the supply does right here. We have a supply zone right here. If not, just gonna wait for price action to play. Getting close to 5 p.m. So you know that's not a trade time. So now I'm gonna let it play out till Asia. Not interested. That we broken this demand zone right here, which is not a good sign. Potentially looking for some sales very soon. And where am I looking for sales? You know, the supply that breaks demand is this one. We could also look for sales right here as well. So we'll see how that goes, right? And I'll drop down to the 1 minute for this one. And I'm probably just gonna wait for a simple candle rejection. Once we get that, we could take an entry. I'm gonna also refine this a little bit on the 1 minute. And this one is actually okay, refine. I would look for 15-second confirmation, but I don't want to show it because not everybody has it. But what I would want to see is just a 1 minute flip. So what we would want to see is price now break below. It's not a clear break. Yeah, so you gotta be really picky with this. This is not a break below, like candle not close below, so that's why you would not take that trade. And looking at it now, again, no breaks yet. Yeah, it looks like price is gonna continue going higher. So I invalidate this supply zone actually. Potentially, we're gonna look for the supply zone up top, but we're probably gonna wait for Asia. Actually, price does run lower, but as you know, no trading time, so not interested in that. Now, price is coming towards here, which would be a point where we could look for some potential buys. We have some liquidity right there on the low, as you guys can see, double liquidity. This is the sweep that caused actually the New York low or London, New York low to be taken, which is nice to see. Could manage to get an entry right there if we do. If not, we're gonna look for that supply zone right here. So we're just playing the range, right? The demand at the low and then the supply at top. Until we break any of those, and then we could look for maybe continuation moves. But I think we'll go to the supply, and this is actually more interesting for me now. I'm just gonna play the candle rejection. Very simple. No tap in the supply yet. So now we're tapped in the supply. We do not take those highs, which is okay, I guess. So what do I see now? I see that price is looking price actually looking quite bearish. You know, that rejection, that's a fat rejection. But what I would like to see is probably be easier on the 15-second, but I would want these lows to be taken. And once these lows get taken, then I'm gonna look for a sell, right? And you could also sell on the retracement, but usually the entries don't really come towards the retracement, so I'm not gonna be too picky. I'm just gonna sell right here. Probably would have caught a better entry, but it is okay, right? And as we know, this demand failed, so we're just gonna target the liquidity on the 4 hour. So I'm gonna target the 4 hour low, possibly. So I'm gonna target this low right here. So that is gonna be my trade. So let's see how that goes. It's a 125 if it does hit. So it's looking good. Now we wanna, of course, manage your trade, see how it's going, right? So what do we see? We see that price is, you know, forming a liquidity somewhat. So if we manage to come back towards this supply zone, then we could actually be short once again. So I would set a limit right here. So what you could do is on the flip, you could set your 50% entry and then have a 1 minute entry as well. 50% market and then a 50-second, 50% limit. I mean, on the 15-second, you would have caught the same entry kind of, so that is okay. So now we'll see what happens, right? Or if we break structure now, then we could possibly see price come back towards here. That could also somewhat happen. But yeah, it looks like price just gonna melt deep. So no trade hit. Only this one hit. That's a 1 to 5. So that's a red. That's a it has to hit though. At this point you can close, but let's see if it hits anyway. Good night, Brody. That's actually crazy. Okay, so do we count to the dub or not? We don't, right? I guess we don't. Kinda painful, but yeah. I guess we don't count it as a W. Went too close, but would you have closed? Would you have closed? It's a good question, right? So now we have the supply zone right here. Potentially, we could look for a sell from the supply zone right here. Um, so we're gonna see the 1 minute confirmation once again. Maybe we'll see it. Okay, so what I would do is, you know, I want these lows to be taken, and once these lows get taken, we would sell. We could actually have sold right here because you have the double double rejection confirmation, but it's hard to explain. But this would be in your trade, and we're targeting that what was that 460 level it was. So we're targeting that level once again, or at this point, um, looking at it, we could actually target these lows since we're that close to it anyway. You could also swing this probably for a fat short because we are gonna break this demand 100% because we don't chop this much inside the demand zone for too long. It doesn't exist like that. So this is our trade entry. Uh, okay, so now I gotta fix this. I have to stop a little higher, right? What is this? Okay, so should be like this, right? Okay, I'm gonna go to the 15 minute. What is it set up? A 1 to 6 if it hits. Okay, that's a good movement. Good movement once again. Okay, 1 to 6. That's a 1 to 6 right there. So what did we have? We had like 13 or 14. So now we have 20R done in, well, it's Tuesday now. It's what, Thursday actually. Or was it? It's Thursday? It's Tuesday. Oh, it's Thursday. Okay, we're trading Asia Thursday. Oh yeah, the trade just took a little while. Okay, that's fine. So anyway, that's a good entry. That's a good trade. Now, actually, if you look at it, it's actually perfect picture. Double liquidity form. This is not the sweep, right? Perfect liquidity form. Tap in the POY. The POY should be taken like that. Good tap in the POY, 50-minute POY, which broke structure, which led on to break structure here, but this was just our liquidity point. So that was a really good entry actually. So now, we broke the demand. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we still have room to visit these lows. So we're gonna target these lows next. So we're gonna short towards these lows, right? And we would possibly, where would you look to short at? We would look to short right here, or looking, based off the liquidity right here. We could also short based on here as well. I will not take these levels yet because I think I could easily run through these because uh, they're quite young, they're quite small ones, right? If you look at it like this, they're like what? Like this broke small structure. There's no big structure, right? This broke actual structure, even on the 15-minute chart. So that's why I would take that one. Of course, we could reject from any of these levels, but I always take the most extreme zones, as you guys know. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, right? But if you okay, we broke structure again, so maybe we could anticipate a 1 minute confirmation entry on this supply. Broke structure again. Ooh. Would you catch an entry there? Let's see. Let's see if you would have gotten confirmation. I mean, these are the three things we speak about, right? The three rejection ones. Okay. Okay, I see. No actual confirmation except that you have that rejection candle. So if you would trade that towards low right there, would you have caught that entry? It really depends. Let's not count it, but let's see if it hits. Okay, because we actually were too late anyway. Maybe we could catch the re-entry or something. So okay, so what do you have? You have the breaks of structures, a lot of break of structures actually. Now we could actually see that price possibly is gonna come towards that supply right here as well, because we still have some liquidity. So I wouldn't be. You could take an entry here actually as well. Let's see. Did it take that low or did it not? I would cancel my limit, by the way, because we probably did take that low. So yeah, actually looking at the 4-hour, was that low taken or not? I'm quite confused. So it did take that low. Wait, what? So we did cancel that limit, so that's not a. Am I confused? Or is it gonna take the low? Well, anyway, now we're gonna look for cells there again. Actually, from this zone right here. We're gonna delete that zone. So I guess it didn't take it. That's quite weird. So that's a slow Thursday. I'm guessing we have some news. Yeah, we did. We had NFP. So that's interesting, right? We had NFP. So let's see if we can predict NFP actually, because I don't remember it actually. What time is it? 14:30, right? So we still have a bit of time. Um, so 14:29. What do you guys guess? We're going up or down? Let me see some guesses. One. What was this NFP? How many people are watching? Five. Okay, so I'm not expecting it. Looking at it now, we could see some sell off. Okay, so we get the sell off, and it's very basic. Why do you think we sold off? If you just look at the picture right now, it's very basic knowledge actually. Price taps into the supply, rejects pre-news, which is okay, and then just melts off based on news, and then it's gonna sweep the liquidity. It's urging not to, which is kind of terrifying, but okay. So there's your liquidity gone, right? Our liquidity is taken, our liquidity is gone. Now we would want to sweep off these lows and then um get a potential retest and then get a trade based off that, right? So let's see. Okay, so this is nice sweep, very nice. So I'm looking for a buy entry. Actually, I'm gonna make it like this so we take the liquidity with it. So I'm looking for a buy here. We swept major 4 hour low, so we could easily reverse back into um where could we target? We could target actually this supply zone right here. I know it's a little bit of a crazy target, but if it's taking too long, then I could anticipate taking profits earlier, depending on how long the trade's gonna take. So let me move to the 3 minute. Um, 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 are you kidding me? Gotta be trolling, right? Damn, I gotta be trolling. So I guess no entry right there. We have news. What do you see? Okay, no news yet. Let's see if we hit TP before news. So what do we do? We sweep liquidity, guys. Look, again, another news play. We sweep liquidity, right? We sweep these major highs and we tap in this supply. Looking at the 1 minute, we have that rejection. We have another, like right here, I would look to sell, right? Very simple entry. And where am I targeting? I'm just probably targeting these lows once again because we're still inside bear structure, right? So this is gonna be the trade of news, right? Probably news is gonna dump anyway. Even retest this supply or does it? Okay, so it retests the supply, so that's another entry right there. Probably a better entry. So yeah, as you guys can see, news was bullshit. It even comes to retest once again. And I actually caught this trade live, now I remember it. I've done a breakdown on it. Very good trade. It was actually 15-second confirmation. And it kind of took like 26 minutes. But that's a 1 to 9, 1 to 10, and 1 to 6. So in total, we're up 30 R this week. And it's Friday, 5 p.m. So that is a week done. Very simple.